went out in Deep Ellum or picked up the Erykah Badu new CD that's entitled Mama's Gun, then you've seen a sample of Leroy Roper's artwork. In tonight's Metro Spotlight, photojournalist Tim Hamilton shows you how Roper, a photo artist, gives new meaning to the word exposure.
I paint the backdrop, paint the body, take the pictures. Everything that you see on there I've done, except for model. I'm a self-taught photographer. I got into doing photography when my brother Charles and I decided that we would do promotional pieces for our backdrops so that we can send them out to other photographers so that they can rent and commission things from us, as well as sending them out to advertising agencies and film and video production companies. Most of the imagery I do involves body art, painted backgrounds, and photography. I'm a self-taught artist. I've been an artist since I was 6 years old. But I'm known for the fantasy imagery that I do of women as mermaids, angels, felines, and, fashion type things. Regardless of how bizarre or wild and crazy or what I turn somebody into as a creature, what's going to make that fantasy successful is if it's that person. If I paint someone as a tigress or a spider, what's going to make the image believable is the emotion that comes from the person in the picture.
And sometimes we forget that we don't realize how stressful our lives are. And when I come in and I can lay down and just lay there for 2 to 4 hours and just be, that's something that you don't realize, that you just don't do that too often unless you pay all this money to go to a spa or something.
One thing about de-stressing is in this society we have hardly any time to de-stress. Most people don't have any time to. Even when they're trying to de-stress, they're not de-stressing, they're still thinking stressful thoughts.
For me, the best thing about it is that my mind has a chance to get rid of all the garbage that normally, and all the stimulation that you absorb just from walking outside onto the city street, It's a time where there's nothing going on, and you can just really let your mind drift away.
We have our natural disasters and things like that, and it gets back into the disrespect that we have for nature in general.
I could really feel that I felt like I was this mermaid on the beach, and I felt so beautiful and everything, and then all of a sudden it was almost as though I swam into some yucky oil, and so I began to really feel the misery of it all.
This creature reminds you of yourself, and may well remind you of the person you love most in your life. And you see this creature struggling, gasping, and dying inside of something that was man-made, and yet also has the innocence upon her face to wonder what it is that has destroyed her. Because she initially believes that she could swim through this. The essence of what I'm trying to do, like the oil slick thing, the emotion that's come down to that, it's for a series called Endangered Species or Species in Danger. And that's showing the beauty of the cats, which are endangered as well. But that also shows aspects of our destruction and how we do things, because we're so preoccupied with ourselves. If we put a human face on it, maybe we'll have an appreciation for it. The process takes between 3 and 4 hours minimum. So on average, somebody has to anticipate about 5 hours, and the bulk of that time is being body painted.
Sometimes you fall asleep and stuff, and you're envisioning yourself to be this creature, and the music's playing, and it's just soothing and relaxing. I mean, I really would compare it to, like, going to the spa for the day. I'm serious.
Just creating you're doing a painting that's on someone's body that's going to wash off. And this is a painting. People ask me if I've ever been painted. And I get painted every time I paint. And then red's going to be tan. When the photo shoot process comes along, the model has already had an opportunity to totally relax, and when she sees herself in the mirror, she sees what she is transformed into, and then you see a change on someone's face when they become whatever it is that they become.
Overall, I'm just a lot more relaxed than I used to be working with Leroy. Just because when you walk in the store, you can leave the crazy world behind you, and you're in a fantasy.
Good. But I do photography the way they did when they invented electricity. I plug the lights in and I turn it on. More often than not, I'm just trying to emulate sunlight. I don't use flash or anything like that. And like I said, none of my images are computer generated. It's just a photograph. Like I said, I'm a self-taught artist and photographer. So when I shoot, when I look through the lens, if the image that I'm looking at looks like something that I would do a painting of as a painting, then I'll take the picture. If not, I won't. So it's like if I'm shooting a 24 exposure roll of film, I expect 12 good shots that are not the same.
I always like to put my 2 cents into what he's doing, and we come up with some pretty crazy stuff sometimes, so it's been a positive relationship.
Ideally, for me, I would love to do a series of coffee table books. I could do that the rest of my life. I mean, I've always wanted to have my art and my words together. When you add, say, the poetry, prose, or short story to those images, you already have the fact that a picture's worth 1,000 words, and then you have the pinch of perimeters that you put on it, and then you're allowed to tell someone a fairy tale then. And then it's like a children's book for a mature viewer, basically. And that's where I think that there's a major need for fantasy in the world, is that we have everything that we're dealing with these days is so reality-based that we have forgotten how to dream. You know, I think these days we're expecting the computers and everything to do our dreaming for us as well as everything else. People need to believe that you can be anything, that you can succeed in any endeavor if you choose to go for it.
More on Leroy Roper's work is available online at www.leroyroper.com. Roper has also produced a calendar for 2001 featuring his art. You can find that online as well. A word about the music featured on our show tonight. It's by guitarist Norman Brown of his CD entitled Celebration. That's the Warner Brothers label.